My name is Douglas Bicket. Now everyone calls me Dougie. Associate Professor of Communication here at St John Fisher College. I am from Scotland. Born there, raised there. I've been gone more than 20 years now, but still got the accent. I basically lived there for the first 18 years of my life. Then I joined the Metropolitan Police in London. Actually trained specifically for riots and for public order disturbances. But we spent most of our time walking around and sometimes even cycling. Well, the reason I left the force was I got to the point where I was thinking, do I want to do this for the rest of my life? I decided to leave and go and sort of find myself, do a little bit of travelling, and I also wanted to go back to university. I actually wanted to go back and pursue something else, and I wasn't quite sure what, but I wanted to try and do something else and just see how that works out. And so that took me on a different path. I did a fair bit of travelling after I left the police. I went around Europe on an interrail, which was basically you can use a ticket which gives you a month's free, unlimited travel on trains anywhere in Europe. I was about 25 before I decided I wanted to go back to college, or made a real commitment to do that. I'd always thought that I wanted to do it, but when I came back to Scotland, I applied for college and got in to Glasgow Caledonian University. Glasgow Caledonian University in Glasgow had an exchange program with a university in Pennsylvania, Lockhaven, and there was a very strong kind of flow of students going in both directions. It was a really cool program. Now, the reason I did the exchange was partly because I met my future wife when she did an exchange to Glasgow, and we kind of hit it off, and one thing led to another. And when she left, we said we'd stay in touch, and we did. And then I decided to apply for the year-long exchange program in the States. We got married. After a couple of years being back in the United States, I realized I needed to do something else with my life, and I wasn't quite sure what. And the choices were going back to graduate school, or trying to get a job at another newspaper. Made the decision to apply for graduate school, and we actually both got in at the University of Washington. So we decided to move out to Seattle. I was nearly done with the PhD program at Seattle, and my wife Laurie was interested in where we were thinking about living, and a lot of these types of academic jobs, they tend to be in places like rural Texas or Oklahoma or Alabama, and she basically laid down the law and said, we're not moving to places like that. We're either going to stay near the coast in the west coast, or we can stay in the northeast. So we stayed in the northeast. I was at Geneseo for 6 years, and then I moved up to Fisher in 2006. One of the more interesting things I've done in the last few years is actually worked as a park ranger in Philadelphia. It's where my wife is from, and her parents still live there, and so we've got a natural base there. Independence National Historical Park, which is what it's called. It's the home of the Liberty Bell. It's got Independence Hall, where the Declaration of Independence was signed, the Constitution, so it's really the birthplace of America. I was looking for something a little bit different to do, and for a new direction, something that I might be able to use for future research directions, and just something different to do with my summer. I like teaching for lots of different reasons. Actually, it's a job that's worthwhile doing. There's very few spaces, I think, in today's society where you can just sort of step back from the normal. College gives people a chance to do that, to actually see how all the pieces fit together. And to the extent that I can be a useful part of that, I think it's a great thing to do.